Here's a look at the Vintage Collection Republic Trooper from the Old Republic. Here's a look at the figure on the card back, and I ordered 2 of these figures because this is a very special figure. That's because this figure won the fan vote that Hasbro put out almost a year ago at this point, out of a selection of pretty popular figures. Now, it makes sense to me why this one won. It had such a high value on the secondary market. On sites like eBay, it was going for around $300. So given that it had so much fan demand behind it on the secondary market, it makes sense that it would do well in a fan vote hosted by Hasbro. I know that I was excited to vote for this figure in that vote because it's one that I always wanted but knew I'd never get the chance to get unless it was re-released. Now, because this is kind of a special, exclusive figure, it means that you can only order it online, and that means that you can only have it shipped to you through the mail. I ordered mine from Hasbro Pulse, and even though they are the direct maker and seller of the item, when they shipped it, it still arrived in the box damaged. You can see that on this one there's a crease that goes all the way down that right side of the card back. It isn't too noticeable in some places, but especially at the top and bottom, you can really see it. Luckily, one of the 2 that I ordered did come in pretty good condition, so that's the one that I'm going to keep sealed. Taking a look at that one, I think the card back looks really nice on this figure. It's looked really nice ever since the original release, but one thing I'm very excited to see on this re-release is the use of that expanded universe logo up at the top. It's been a while since we've got one of those, and now we get to see it on this figure and on that new Gaming Greats Shea Vizsla re-release. So it's awesome to see the return of this logo on these card backs. Because this was a special fan vote figure, they decided to do something special with the card back, and they kept this one unpunched. That's not something that they do regularly on figures in TVC 2.0. Normally they all come punched, so I think it's cool that they took the opportunity on this fan vote figure to do something special like that. Looking at the back of the card, we can see the design is that normal TVC 2.0 card back, figures up top, VC number up top, and a bunch of text on the bottom. This is VC 113 in the line, so it's keeping its original number from that first release, and it also shows off other recent figures that come out, including that recent wave of TVC figures that we reviewed right here on this channel. If you want to check out those reviews, a playlist link will be in the description. Moving down to look at the bubble, I think the figure and accessories looks really nice in there. They've got some dual layered packaging going on where we have the big gun packaged in behind the main figure. I think that looks really nice. If there's one thing that I wish they kinda kept, it's that character debut sticker that was on the bubble of the original release of this figure. I think that makes the card back look special, but I understand that this release isn't really the debut of the figure anymore, so they can't exactly put that sticker on. That's enough time looking at this figure in the card back. Let's go ahead and get it opened up. Here's the figure outside of the card back, and I think it looks really, really good. It looks like an amazingly designed toy. It's very visually stimulating without feeling over-designed. I feel like some recent character designs in Star Wars have walked that line of feeling over-designed or feeling bland with how much they try to cram into the visuals, but the design on this one just looks really nice. Everything here is sculpted nicely, painted nicely, and it looks very satisfying. It really does look like a toy that you want to grab and play with. The detail on the chest armor is really good. I especially love the pouches that are on that sling over the front of the chest. I think that looks great. The arms look really nice as well, and you can see a symbol painted onto the shoulder of this guy. If we move up to the helmet, I think that is very nicely sculpted as well. Looks accurate to the design, and the design itself is really nice. Taking a look under the helmet, I think the face print on this guy is great. Honestly, one of the better face prints that they've done. The shading, the color, the facial hair, the scar, all of that looks very realistic to me, so I'm happy about all that. I'm not perfectly happy with the sculpt of the character's head. It's very oblong and undersized in parts. I get it was probably designed that way so that the helmet could fit over it no problems, but it does look kind of weird proportionally to me, and I'm not too big of a fan of that. All of the accessories are great with this figure as well. The blaster pistol fits nicely into the holster on the side. The knife also fits into its holster, which is fitted in on the side with a peg, so it does rotate around. I don't know if it's supposed to do that, but it does that. Both of the accessories look good when they're packed into their holsters, and they look and fit nicely into the hands as well. Now, the big gun on this guy looks very nice. I was surprised by how easy it was to fit it into the hands. Normally on these big accessories that characters have to hold with two hands, it can be hard to fit them in sometimes. That was not the case on this figure. Not only did the handles on the gun fit really nicely into the hands, but the pose that the arms had to be in was not difficult to achieve. That really impressed me on a figure whose sculpt is this old and whose articulation is limited in some places. It also wasn't too hard to get the figure to balance while holding that main gun, which is something I was worried about. And the main reason I was worried about that is because of the hips. And the hips are the biggest flaw on this figure. They are the old design swivel hips, so there's very limited articulation that you can get in the waist. It's the most dated thing about this figure, and even though you can still get this thing into some pretty nice poses, there's a lot of potential being held back just because of those hips. With a sculpt this nice, I just wish that there was some modern articulation here that met that same level of quality. Overall, I think the figure is great. It looks really good, it has really nice accessories, and the detail all around the sculpt looks great, but some of the dated articulation, like the hips, holds it back. I'm still very happy that this won the fan vote. I pre-ordered these two as soon as they were available, and I'm really happy to have both of them now without having to pay those crazy aftermarket prices. For another look at this figure, other figures, vehicles, and playsets from across the Star Wars lines, be sure to check out the Jedi Collector on Instagram. Link will be in the description.